Hello there YouTube and welcome to Zirkzank Says. I'm Zirkzank and I haven't made a video for quite a while, so I decided I'm going to make one because I've just taken a shit and drank a cup of coffee. So I'm feeling pretty good, except not as good as I made it sound by saying like pretty good. Like I'm not that good feeling. It's more like I feel pretty good. Like no, that puts a little bit too much emphasis. It's more like I feel nice. That's what I was trying to say. I decided I'm gonna do a review on this book that I read, except I didn't read this book physically. The book that I'm holding here, which is How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, kind of the story of my life, by Scott Adams. Instead of doing that, I read it here on my phone. I don't know if you can see that, the fucking the book at the top there. The top left. Oh wow, that auto coloring shit. Let's get some. Here we go. Focus. Yeah, this book is pretty good. That's my review. No. There you go. This is the book on here. I read this on this app called Moon Plus Reader Pro. Which you can buy because it's got the name Pro in it. You can get a free version of it, and if you're a very naughty person, which I'm definitely not, you could pirate a version of the Pro, because the Pro version has this it has text to speech in it. Now if I could get to a section of the book like this, for example, there's a section of the book. This is so professional. I tap on my phone, I click on the this. Look, text to speech. You just click start text to speech, and then oh fuck.
Most popular and widely distributed comic strips of the past quarter century. He has been a full-time cartoonist since 1995, after 16 years as a technology worker for companies like Crocker National Bank and Pacific Bell. His many bestsellers include The Dilbert Principle and Dogbert's Top Secret Management Handbook. He lives outside San Francisco. How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. I'm not an expert in any of the topics I'll discuss here, but I am a professional simplifier. My main job for the past few decades has been creating the Dilbert comic strip. Making comics is a process by which you strip out the unnecessary
I think you get the idea, but the point is, that's how I read a book, like just having text to speech read the book for me, so I didn't even have to bother reading it. Now that is how you get productive. That is how you win big, multitask. While I was listening to this book, I managed to get a bunch of work done for university. I say a bunch, but it really wasn't particularly much in terms of like the overall year of workload that I've got to do. But the point is, listening to a book while working was good. Listening to this book in particular was good because it has a lot of great insights. That's my main reason for following the work of Scott Adams. Basically, he's an intelligent guy who has opinions and hypotheses and theories and just logical explanations. He likes to explain things. Is the best way to put it. Like he does, as he says, simplify things. Like in that little introduction, as a comic writer, he simplifies things. He does that throughout the whole book. He talks about complex things and things that you might not even have thought about ever. Like he has an entire section dedicated to drinking coffee. So I'm going to give drinking coffee a try, because I'd say that the health benefits of coffee outweigh the health disbenefits of it, and the general disbenefit of it. For example, being tired. Like, you know how you get tired if you're not on coffee, but if you're on coffee, you're more awake and alert. He says if you in that situation, you have higher highs and lower lows than someone who doesn't drink coffee, who's kind of just in a sort of mild mood throughout the day. If you control your energy by, like, for example, drinking coffee when you're about to do a load of work, you'll do that work better at a higher quality, faster. You'd be better at doing the work while you drink the coffee, and then afterwards you might be a little bit, like, you may take a dive in energy, but it doesn't matter because you've done the work to a higher standard. So breaking something down like that and simplifying it like that makes logical sense to me, so I'm going to try doing that. I don't know what the negative effects of coffee are. It's probably not talking fast. I'm just doing that on purpose to try and be more interesting, get to the point. Don't really have a point. The point was, this was a good book. I found it very useful. I'm probably going to read it again at some point because I can't remember everything I read in it. The main principle of this was use systems, not goals, in life. And he'll explain what a system is and what a goal is better than I can do it, even though I've read the book and I understand it fully. I just don't have the right sentences to do it because I am not a writer. But this book was more like a mixture between his autobiography and a guidebook or an advice book. It's not a guide book, it's an advice book. And advice is important to consider, that you can take it or leave it as advice. Like, take it or just consider it. You don't have to do advice. Like, some of the stuff he recommends I probably won't do. Like, for example, his diet. Like, I think I have a better diet than that with Huel. That's one example. Particularly, another thing he mentions, like, where to invest your time and energy. For example, like what skills to learn, and going into doing something. He says it's good to do something that you're not passionate about. I'm paraphrasing really badly, but you want someone who can do something that they're not passionate about, because passion is kind of bad. Except, I don't know, I have multiple thoughts on that, whether I think that doing something I'm passionate about would be helpful or not. I'm jumbling words. The point was, I recommend this book, and that's about the only point that I'm going to make about this. Oh yeah, and if you don't know who Scott Adams is, he's the guy who does this comic, which you've probably seen before somewhere, Dilbert, like on newspapers and stuff. Like, I've never been a massive fan of Dilbert, but I saw Scott Adams on the Stefan Molyneux show. I know, Stefan Molyneux. Whatever, you can think what you want, but watch his show because he has interesting views on things. Scott Adams has been on Stefan Molyneux twice, and I was like, oh, this guy is a pretty cool guy. So I checked out his blog. He writes some interesting blog posts on dilbert.com, on his blog there. And I listened to him on the Joe Rogan show. There's like a 3 hours and 10 minutes video of him and Joe Rogan, just conversation, back and forth discussion. I was interested. At that point, I was like, yeah, I like this guy. I'm going to buy his book. So I bought his book and read that. I listened to it as a text-to-speech audiobook while I was waiting for the physical book to come. But by the time I got the physical book, I'd already finished listening to the audiobook, because instead of just getting a little sample, I ended up just listening to the whole thing in about 10 hours. So I would recommend this. Yeah. I think the next book I'm going to read will probably be this, Superintelligence, Paths, Dangers and Strategies, a book by Nick Bostrom. It was recommended to me by Elon Musk. Not recommended to me specifically, but just recommended by Elon Musk. And I read the first quarter of it. I just need to reread the first quarter of it so I can get up to speed on it again, and then go from there, because this is a very important book to read. Whether you understand AI, like artificial intelligence, or not, it's worth knowing about what AI will be capable of, and looking at it from a very in-depth perspective, as opposed to just the general kind of Skynet is gonna kill us, because I don't necessarily see that as being the case. It's possible, but in this book he mentions how Hollywood's portrayal of AI is possibly pessimistic and inaccurate, because the whole Skynet thing wouldn't necessarily be that essential. Yeah, I'm going off topic here, but guess what? I don't care. This is the Zirkzank Says, and I can say whatever the fuck I want. So yeah. My eyes are stinging. It might be this coffee. It probably was the coffee.